Welcome to Basic Punches. Let's get started. Okay, now we're going to do punches. We're going to do traditional punches. This isn't ring punches. This isn't advanced punches. This is just basic punches. Okay, so the first punch we need to be cross arms in ready stance. Okay, now I want to see we're in the fighting stance, like so, right? Just like this, fighting stance. Cross, we bring our left hand up like we're going to do an outside block, and we come into fighting stance. Okay, good. Now, from here, what we're going to do is your right hand, your fingers come in, curl in, your thumb goes over the first two fingers. So it's very important. If you don't do this, your thumb might be out here, here, here somewhere, and it'll catch on anything and break your thumb. It's very easy. So we're in fighting stance, just like this, palm facing up. Some people face it this way, but I like facing it up. Okay, and we're going to get a little bit more of a snap than when we go through. All right, so what's going to happen is you're now going to roll your shoulder. The punch isn't just forward, right? The punch is you roll forward and bring your hand. So this motion of rolling it forward and getting the power. So you're taking all this power, you're rolling it forward, and as your hand comes forward, it twists a little bit until right at the end where it snaps. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to punch with these first two knuckles right here. So we come forward, punch right there, our first two knuckles, bang, just like that. Okay, and you can feel it. There's a lot of, so what's happening is all this body weight and force and muscle mass is coming forward and landing on this one little square inch of these two knuckles, which is going to hit something and you're going to push through it, right? And so all that power is it's like a nail, right? When you hit a nail with a hammer, all that pressure of the hammer is concentrated on that little nail on the tip, and that's what pushes it through the wood, right? You can't take a hammer and make it go through the wood. It has to be concentrated. That's what we're doing here. We're hitting on these first two knuckles, all the concentration of power. So we're here, we roll and punch. Okay, go this way. Same thing. We bring forward, roll and punch, right? So just like this. I'll come at this angle, it'll make it a little easier for you. Okay, so we roll, string it through, roll and go, roll and twist. Right about here, about maybe an inch before the impact, that's when you snap it. Bang, bang. That's where your snap comes in. So, and this is actually where the body is, right? So the snap starts as soon as your hand hits the surface. If it's a board, if it's a person, that is when the snap comes in. I've actually heard this called like chiseling also. I think boxers call that chiseling when they do it. But so the punch comes in and then goes through. You're hitting the person and then it's pushing it in. You're driving all that power in on this 1 inch. So once again, roll and in and back. In, back. Punch, back. Punch, back. Punch, back. Punch, punch. Punch, punch. Punch, punch. Punch, punch. Okay, that's how we do the punch in Tae Kwon Do style, traditional. Okay, we can also go, of course, for fighting stance. You bring your hands way back here, just like this, and your legs are bent, and then punch, 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 punch. So this is the traditional punch. Now we're going to do hammer fist. Now hammer fist, hand comes up just like our blocks, right? Our inside and our outside. Okay? Make a fist like you would for a punch. When your arm comes up, and now you're hitting with the fleshy part, right here. And when you do your blocks, that's what you're doing. Bang, you're hitting with this hammer fist. Now when we do the drill of going this way, coming up and stepping forward and doing this block, you're also doing the hit of the hammer, right? So you step back to block a punch, and then you step forward to do the hammer fist and the block at the same time. Okay, so that's what you're doing. Now, step back, block, step forward, hammer fist block. Step back, block, step forward, hammer fist block. Okay, and it's the same thing when you step back with the inside. Bang. You're twisting out like this. We don't do this, right? We don't want to swing the arm. We want a nice block and hit, like so. So remember that when you're doing any of your blocking, traditional blocking, you're blocking plus you're hitting with a hammer, right? And it can be used offensively or defensively. If I'm coming with a punch, like so, if you stepped back, hit it like this with your arm, and then struck. And that's why that twist at the end is so important. You're moving that hand and you're striking the face. Okay, so hammer fist. Step back, bang, strike. You're going to hit two things at once. 1, 2. Right? That's why you want that snap at the end. Step back, outside, bang. Step forward, outside. Step back, outside. Step forward, outside. Now inside. Step back, bang, right against the temple. Right here. You're going to block and hit, bang, right against that temple. Step forward, bang. Make sure you hit that snap in there. Bang, step forward. Step back. Step forward. Step back. Now, that's the hammer. Another traditional way we can use this is when we step back, we can swing it straight forward. So instead of punching straight forward, we step back and we just hit it like a hammer fist coming across. Only going to here and coming right back into position. Okay, so left hand up, step back, hammer. Just like this. Bang, hitting with the fleshy part. Go back, step back, hammer. Go forward, step back, hammer. Step back, position, and hammer. Good. Switch hands. Right hand's up. Same thing. Step back, hammer. Cross. Hands up, step back, hammer. Step across, hands up, step back, hammer. Good. Now, there's a temptation when we go this way to want this to go straight, right? Just like this one went straight across. Some people take this instead of going to the head as a block, they want to do this straight. Well, as you can see, you can't do that. Okay, that's a big mistake. It can hurt a lot. It can hurt your elbow and all the muscles in there. So you only want to go striking out in this direction. If you want to strike again in this position, you just go back. Oops. So here, you step back, and here, right? So go back, strike, hammer, step forward, strike, hammer. Go back, strike, hammer. Go forward, strike, hammer. Go back, strike, hammer. Go forward, strike. Backhand. Okay, what's technically called backhand hammer. So hands come up like you would an outside block. You step back, and now you bring the hand forward. The palm always facing you, and you're hitting right to there. But you're hitting with your two knuckles, the same two knuckles you use for your punch. Right? You're trying to get all this energy, bang, on those two knuckles. And you're going basically to the temple. So, and that region. So bang, just like this. No higher than that. That's as high as you want to go. Okay? You also don't want the arm to be straight like this. This is wrong. We're going to basically do the same thing as our inside lock, right? We're going to come across and bang. But instead of twisting all the way across like a hammer fist, we're going to keep those knuckles here. So we get that bang, that smack, all that energy into those two knuckles. So hands up, into position, right hand up, step back, backhand, cross. Hands come up, step back, backhand, cross. Hands come up, step back, backhand, cross. Hands come up, step back, backhand. Come back, cross, switch arms. Step back, backhand. Cross, go back to position, step back, back fist. Cross. Into position, step back, back fist. Cross, hands come back up, step back, back fist. Like I said, make sure you're at a nice angle. You never want your arm to be straight. Even when we're punching, like in a regular punch, my arm never stays in this position. It snaps, and I have a slight bend in it, a very slight bend. I don't know if you can see that. You always want that slight bend so that if you hit someone and there's pressure back, if your arm is completely extended and that person runs into it, you could break your elbow, and all that energy is now pushed right back into your hand. You want all the energy to go into them, right? So the energy is coming up and in, up and in. And if you get some resistance, you have that bend that will then keep you from getting hurt. In all these exercises, you always want your elbow a little bit bent, unless you're doing a push, but that's later. That's more the fighting style. But right now, you want everything just to be nice, and you want it to be as much extension as possible without a full overextension of the elbow. Okay, and with all these punches. Okay, now we're going to do elbow. All right. Before we do elbow is never an attack. Okay, I don't want you to think this is an attack like a punch, right? A punch can be an aggressive or a defensive, right? Offensive, defense. But okay, I'm gonna start over. Okay, now we're going to be doing elbow strikes. Elbow strikes are always defensive. I know we train, or a lot of people train them being offensive, but they're really a defensive strike. Okay, I will teach you both, but just keep that in mind. Okay, so I want you to go into fighting stance. Okay, when you're in fighting stance, what you're going to do is your elbow's going to come up and across, like so. You're kind of doing this twisting motion, right? And your left hand, your opposite hand, is going to come back into a punching position, and the elbow is going to strike here. Okay, and then go back to your fighting position. So you're going to come forward and strike. How you can tell where you're hitting, you should never hit on the elbow. Okay, we never strike here. Okay, we can break this. This is breakable. So when we hit someone, especially a head, most of these strikes are going to be to the head. This is very bad for your elbow. Okay, you can shatter it. What we're hitting is right here, and the blade, and this really bony part right here. We're coming across, and we're hitting bang, bang. And we have the whole strength of the shoulder and the arm coming forward and hitting. Okay, so bang, 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 bang. Okay, now when we're practicing this, we go forward and strike. Now in classes, what you're going to see is this. We're going to be in a fighting stance, and they're going to step forward. 1, and you step forward. 2, step forward. 3, step forward. 4. I know we're stepping forward, but always think of this as a defensive. Okay, someone comes in, bang, right? Because usually it comes after a punch, and then you step back because they're continuing to come after you, and then bang. You get them in a good position. You don't want to reach with this. Look at the difference between reach. If I use my elbow and come forward, this is my reach. But if I punch, see the difference? So when you're coming as an attack, this doesn't make any sense. But if you're punching and he comes in, or if he's rushing in on you, it makes perfect sense. He's already right here, right? So he's closing your distance, and that's when you use it. Okay? So we're going to do fighting stance. Okay. Elbow strike. I want you to step forward. Elbow strike. I want you to step back. Elbow strike. Make sure you're hitting right here. Don't get used to hitting here. Get used to hitting right there on the blade of your arm, right here. Step forward. Step back. Step forward. Step back. Step forward. Step back. Step forward. Step back. Got to be careful because you can actually hurt your hand a little bit. It's a lot of power. And eventually, when you work against the bag, you're gonna create a lot of power with time. Step back. Step forward. Step back. Step forward. Step back. Okay, that's elbow strike. Now, there are some people that teach elbow strikes in other positions, up, down, coming down. You never want to use the back here. Okay? I know it can even be tempting because you're already extended, and why not come back? I've seen way too many times this get broken. Okay, so coming back with an elbow is not a good idea. Always forward in a defensive position. Okay.